Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Yeah, I've Played. I am Matt Hall, and
Jordan Hill.
we have just recently completed the final draft,
Finally.
the New Game Plus of Alan Wake 2. This is part 3 of our 3-part discussion on the game. Of course, there will be 2 more videos in this series.
We're not done. It's
Eventually. But this one is just like a little epilogue, I think, to...
This will definitely be the shortest of the series so far.
Yeah.
Maybe of all of them.
So the New Game Plus was teased very early on. New narrative elements, new manuscript pages. Like, what does it mean? What could it be?
Yeah. Which I think it's the first Remedy game to feature a New Game Plus, right?
Yeah.
Because Control kind of like
Control
played
lets you
around
keep
with
playing.
it. And you can add on like the handicaps kind of, you know what I mean? Where like
The assist mode.
Assist mode, yes, that's what it's called, yes. So you can do assist, and that's kind of like New Game Plus, but not quite. It's not really at all, because you don't get to start the game over. But you could restart the game with assist mode on.
Right, which is kind of like being, at least you're super jacked and shit. But you can't like turn on all your powers.
You're like fucking Sam Solik over there.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but I'm Googling them now. But I ultimately, I expected a little bit more.
Yeah, I didn't want to like disappointed isn't the right word for it. Underwhelmed, I think, is a better word. You know what I mean? I had more expectations. I was really hoping for a lot more new stuff, and the stuff that is new is like cool, I guess. Some of it is, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
some of it just kind of felt like we're gonna get more into it here very quickly, but we might as well get going. The Saga campaign really let me down in the New Game Plus.
In terms of new stuff?
In terms of new stuff, yeah. In terms of new content. The most substantial content you get is from Alan's campaign.
Right.
Really. Other than like the shared stuff at the end. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, I don't know. I wanted there to be more.
Well, I was hoping for things that offered more clarity into what the hell's going on, and this didn't really do that for me.
It did not answer any questions. It created more questions.
Yeah.
For me, at least. You know what I mean? Because even the questions that it answered, which like the big question of what the fuck's going on, it kind of was like, well, it's sort of this, which means all this now, maybe, you know?
I need to let the cat in here.
Yeah,
She's
you got it.
freaking out.
She's fucking going at the door. She is losing her mind.
So, I mean, I think this is the best way to do a podcast.
Just play with the cat the whole time, yeah.
No,
down.
but I was kind of disappointed by how much was identical. One thing I did like was how much, and I caught this everywhere I looked for coverage on the New Game Plus. People giving the caveat, I don't know if this was new or not.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything in the game is written in such a way to like, when you're on New Game Plus, you're like, okay, I'm going in with a new perspective. You hear lines, you're like, wait, did he say that? Because it sounds like you're talking about it from the perspective you're from, but you're not. You're talking from your old perspective.
And it's also, there's like, we had seen a couple of these things ahead of time. We saw a couple leaks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so there's one that I found where I was watching it, and I was like a minute into it, and I was like, is this new? Because I was like, I've definitely seen this.
I thought I'd seen this before.
I saw this. But no, it was new. It was new. But
I thought he was with him. Well, who's that guy now?
But that's what it felt like. And there's also, like you mentioned in the first video, like if you go to the park and you wait next to like the woman talking to the pigeons, there are like 3 separate dialogue options you'll trigger.
Yup.
Say the first playthrough you don't even go there, or you hang out for like just one dialogue option. Second playthrough you spend a little more time, or you finally go there in the New Game Plus, and you're like, wait, did she say this the first time? Or is this... I can see why people were struggling to know what was new and what wasn't, because it is such a fucking dense game, and unless you're like us and you've already played through it 2.5 times to 3 times, you know what I mean? You're not going to know what you might have missed the first time around.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what I thought would be the easiest way to kind of, get through this in a concise manner would be to talk about all the new stuff that I'm aware of. And if I'm wrong, leave a comment. I will delete your comment because I can't be proven wrong, but I will mine that knowledge first, and I'll go, okay. And
he'll take that. He'll take it to heart, and
but I will. But the public will not know.
No
that I
one
was
else
ever
will
wrong.
know. He'll bury it.
Yes. And that's kind of how I run things around here. In case you're new to the channel, fuck you to all new subscribers.
Any new subscribers?
You are all
you suck. You're all fucking idiots.
I mean, this is based on my own research and also me looking up like a handful of different articles that are like claiming articles and YouTube videos and listicles and bullshit being like, here's all the new stuff.
It is
nobody
also,
had everything.
Yeah,
everybody was missing something.
It's a 20-hour game, and New Game Plus has been out for 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
3 weeks maybe. By the time this video comes out, it'll be longer. But we're shooting it now. It's been out for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So, fuck. It was hard for me to finish it in the week. You know what I mean? I felt a little.
Yeah, I felt a little too.
I felt a little.
Didn't feel enough though. The big thing. New opening monologue from Alan, because you know without a doubt now that you're playing as Alan from the end of the game.
Yes.
When you see that there. Back to the beginning.
And it's I don't even think it's a new monologue. I think it's just the ending monologue put at the beginning.
Well, no, possibly.
I believe it's what he says at the end of the game.
At the end of the New
original
Game
ending.
Plus.
No. I believe
it's extent. He goes, I know now we're not doomed to repeat our failures in an eternal loop. And I know now there's not just heroes and monsters, but there's not just victims and monsters, but there are heroes as well. He didn't say that in the first version.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and I'll fucking ban you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I am 90% sure that is what he says as the things in his head, and he's sitting there, and you think Alan's died, and he says we're not doomed to repeat this. You know what I mean? And then it cuts to Saga calling up the phone, being like, Logan, and then it ends. That's the original ending. I'm 90% sure that this opening is just the ending monologue put at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
To imply that you have just restarted the loop from that moment.
We're gonna. I'm gonna have to do the work now to confirm this. I'm gonna have to look up videos, and we'll put right here if Jordan is mega wrong or just right.
Either way, fuck you.
leave a fuck you in the comments.
Either way.
New manuscript pages. Although I would say I was really looking forward to new manuscript pages. Two big complaints. One, Alan Wake 1 had a really good system where you had a checklist of all the manuscript pages you got from each chapter.
Yes. And it also had that American Nightmare.
I would love a checklist of manuscript pages so I knew if I was missing some or not.
So good. So I so wish.
And it's the only collectible, I think, in the game that doesn't have a checklist.
Yeah, because everything else you put on the evidence wall and it will tell you how many more.
Or the TVs.
Yes.
And like all that shit. Everything. Pretty much I think everything else has a checklist.
The manuscript doesn't.
Manuscript pages, the core of the game in a way. Oh, yeah. Why? What Remedy?
I didn't really.
Why?
I didn't really pick up on that until I just played through American Nightmare recently. And I way preferred knowing, I've got 18 out of 21 here. Okay, there's 3 more. I need to not leave this area. I got to keep looking around, you know what I mean, to make sure everything's good.
So most of the new manuscript pages were the dark poem from Initiation.
Yep, which you find, I believe you find those in Alan's story in the first game. You find
they're
those,
like written all over the walls.
Yeah. Mostly at the overlaps, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
I think at each murder site.
Yeah, because I definitely breezed through a lot of that stuff in this playthrough.
It was just kind of like, okay.
Well, I mean, it's like
that's not really new.
It's my 4th time seeing a lot of these cutscenes and having a lot of this dialogue.
Listen,
I have the concern.
Boss, that's not entirely new.
Yeah, I have this concern that I may have missed some things here and there just from skipping a lot of the dialogue and stuff this time around, but I don't think I did.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
New manuscript page about Sega's
Sega Genesis. Sega! A new manuscript page about the Sega Genesis, everybody. Sega!
It basically, Alan's talking about blast processing.
Talking about 64-bit versus 32-bit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, really, because you don't even see a Sega in this game. I don't think this game's on Sega.
It's definitely not on Sega, no. I think it's just a Microsoft exclusive.
But yeah, it is on Microsoft, and there's a page called Saga's Deja Vu, I think, and that kind of is like, Saga had a feeling she had been here before. It's like, okay, yes. More of that was what I wanted.
Well, that's what I saw. And you find that pretty early on. You find
it right after you find the first manuscript page, an invitation page, I think it's called.
Yes. So
and then you're walking away and you find the other one.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I got excited when I found this because I thought, oh, cool. Maybe because Saga has this outside. The cat is really letting us have it tonight. Because Saga has this like greater awareness of the story, she's not as affected by it. You know what I mean? By like the writing.
She's yowling in the hallway.
She's literally it's meow every few seconds.
She's fine. She's totally fine.
Yeah, she's living a great life.
I do not hurt my cat anymore. Okay, I served my time. I learned.
We all saw the Netflix documentary about Matt. But anyways, I was really hoping that they were going. We were both expecting much more from the new game plus. I was hoping that it was going to expand more and that Saga would begin to have an awareness in game, not just in the manuscript pages, that she had done this before.
I was hoping that she'd be a bit more predictive and be like, bitch, I know you're about to say my daughter's dead. She isn't. It's the story.
I was excited.
And you know what?
Yeah.
Alan has returned.
And guess what? Alan doesn't want to fuck you, Rose. He doesn't even know you exist.
Rose, what are you doing here?
She sobs.
Rose, how did you get in my room? So there was also another one. It's not a lake, I think is what it was called, which described Ati, I think, coming out of Cauldron Lake.
I don't remember.
It was like he grabbed the rim of the crater and pulled himself out.
I didn't take it as that. So I took it as a different perspective. I took it as Ati as a god, like this massive. They said there's a light blocking the sun, an almost impossibly large figure. I think it's Ati, and Ati is like grabbing the rim of the lake, and then he picks it up and it's his mop bucket or his bowl or whatever.
Wow,
that was my take on it.
No, that makes sense because I when I read it, I was like, I don't really get this.
It's more like you're seeing Ati reach down to grab the lake.
Perspective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because we already know that there's already the theory we have, and that seems to be confirmed, that the mop water, it's not our original theory, but that the mop water is lake water.
Lake water, famous lake there in Bright Falls.
Lake water.
No, it does seem to be lake water.
From the Colorado.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. But they really that was just kind of like poetic and like I didn't really understand like, okay, how do I apply this knowledge to my theory crafting?
Yeah, I know it does, because Ati's power seems at times unlimited and at other times incredibly limited.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It seems very contingent on certain factors.
Also, he dresses like a total bum.
Yeah,
like he could stand to just be a little bit more stylish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't need like bronze breastplate. You know what I mean?
No, but it's 2023. Okay, you don't need to wear coveralls like you're a Ghostbuster. All right,
at least
you could dress like a normal.
He could get one of those like those like nicer rompers that were going around for guys a couple of years ago. Like they had the shorts and the collar on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
short sleeves.
Minnow baby, come in here. Come here. Come here, you little yowler.
What's the problem, Bob?
Come here, baby. So, as I wait for Minnow to approach, the other thing I noticed that was new, and this is the only other thing, right up here. Hi. We got a new series of videos called Writer's Journey from Alan.
Yes.
To kind of describe him, all right, goodbye. Just kind of describe him becoming aware of the nature of the spiral.
Yes. Which is something that, like, even though at the end of in the original ending, he mentions that he's now learned that it's a spiral, it makes it seem like he's coming to that realization right then, even though this implies that he's been slowly but surely getting there.
Maybe he's remembering it more then. It's like he's remembering more every time, but it seems like he still struggles with some degree of memory loss.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, yeah. Because and it's also, I think too, what sometimes he considers memory loss, maybe because maybe he hasn't actually done that yet, or experienced that yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It could be an event that hasn't happened, but because he didn't have that concept of how time worked there yet, you know, he viewed it as him not remembering it.
That's confusing as hell.
That's in the sense that I wanted this to give more answers. That is one of the ways that this really made it more confusing as hell. Because I'm like, man, as much as I start to think about the spiral and like with the way he says it in like that monologue or at the end, I don't know, man. I was sitting there like, I don't think I'll ever fucking understand how the spiral works. Like,
one thing that stuck with me was Ati said, "What you leave behind, you find in front of you." Mm-hmm. Okay, that tells me something about the nature of the spiral. Sounds like a loop, honestly.
well, yeah, but that's what he thought it was.
If I leave something behind me, when I go back around the loop, it'll be in front of me. You know, it's like the spiral.
Yeah, but then it could also be like,
You know, but the spiral, you're looping, but the spiral is, as you go through the spiral, you're still traveling. Even
but the spiral is also 3-dimensional, I think is the idea.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like you're like, I'm on a track that's a loop, and I'm seeing the events from this perspective. What I don't realize is that every time I go through the events, I'm also moving up or down in space. But it doesn't look that way to me because I'm not.
I think like the implication is that the loop is one timeline that you keep repeating, whereas what the spiral is saying is that all of the timelines are happening in conjunction with each other. You know what I mean? Like they're all occurring effectively.
I would agree with that too.
In the whole, what you leave behind, you'll see in front of you, could be you leave something behind in the future. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But it also fits the loop thing, like you were saying. But you know,
Yeah.
it could be the literal future, and then you find it. Hi, Minnow. Come on, lady.
She's very restless. I haven't held her much today when I usually hold her for an hour a day, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day. Another new thing was, and I wasn't sure this was new. So I'm going from I think this is from I should be crediting my sources here. I think I saw this. I could be wrong. Okay. Don't cancel me. I think it was from GameRant.com. Somebody tried to make a little list of new content. Somebody said there was a new call from Zayn at the end of Initiation 2 where he says, "Oh, we're making progress. You know, we're closer to getting out."
I don't think that's new. I read that on here. I don't think that's new.
I remember him saying something along those lines where he was like, "Oh, you're remembering more. This is great."
Yeah.
But maybe this is different. Maybe he's just saying the same thing. But again, it was like, even if that is new, it's not that different from what he was already saying.
Yeah, I don't think you had any new phone calls, because I listened to the phone calls specifically because I thought maybe the Alice phone calls you get a Saga would be different.
Yeah.
And they weren't. Mm-hmm. So I don't think any of the phone calls are different. Because that is one thing I was paying attention to, because I figured if anybody's going to have a new perspective in the dialogue, it's going to be the fucking phone conversations. Because it's either with yourself, Alice, or Zayn.
Yeah, and it'd be an easy way to also use the same cinematics.
Exactly.
Without
having to
which is a lot of what happened here. Is they
without
just
having to reanimate anything.
Voiceover,
you know.
which is fine.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
But it just didn't go as deep as I wanted.
I know. I wish it was. We all listen. Every now and then, everybody wants it a little deeper. And sometimes you just can't do that. Sometimes you're just not capable of it.
So we got a new Night Springs video. Mr. Door introducing episode. That was cool.
Yeah.
One thing that kind of like stuck with me is like, okay, it seems like that Mr. Door is the new voice and host of Night Springs.
Yeah. This is different from the one that we saw in the first playthrough? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I caught that then. I mean, I think I saw it. I didn't catch that.
I believe the first one is we have a new season coming. And this one is like kind of the intro to an episode.
Oh, okay. I must have just not picked up on that. I saw the video again, but I just don't think I realized it was new.
It's funny that Mr. Door would become the new voice of Night Springs because Mr. Door is based on Martin Hatch. Mm-hmm. Martin Hatch is from Quantum Break. Mm-hmm. In Quantum Break, they are holding auditions for the new narrator of Night Springs. Do you remember that? When you're on the run, it's the scene where like you're like down at like the pier or something. You're like there's like a fish market or some shit. You're like going over the highway. You're like in the city, and there's like a blockade on the highway, and like cars are getting checked and stuff.
Yes.
You can find a television near there.
Okay.
And it's like it's the Night Springs intro and nobody's talking. They're like, where's the guy? And like, and so they're holding auditions. You see a bunch of people like reading the script. It's a little gag video.
Okay.
But it's just funny that
might have been hinting at that.
In his continuity, in Hatch's, continuity, there was a need for a new Night Springs narrator, and then here
he is the Night Springs narrator.
And
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Come on, did you pick up on that?
I did not.
Viewer,
I didn't. Did you? Leave a fuck off in the comments.
and listen, we're having fun here saying the F word, but if you try to do that in the comments, you will likely get auto moderated, and I have no control over that.
We won't be deleting. In that case, it's not us deleting the comment. It just won't let you do it.
Because I will tell you, I do, when I think it's just, I will say in a comment on a video, I will say, fuck you, or fuck this shit,
this fucking sucks.
This fucking sucks, or what the fuck is wrong with you, or you need to fucking stop. And those comments do not appear. And I know they did not block them.
No,
they disappear too quick to be auto-moderated.
These people aren't doing a good enough job for them to get on. No.
That's for a select few, okay? Maybe I'm just making it up. So we also got some Dr. Darling videos.
Dr. Darling.
Now, here's something that I think is kind of shitty, okay? And Remedy, I don't mean to be coming down too hard on you. I don't mean to be coming down too hard on you right now, but you say there's 3 new Darling videos. You can see it in the collectibles menu.
Yes.
There's only 2. The third one, as data miners have proven, is from the intro of the Lake House DLC.
Oh, okay. So we haven't seen it yet.
My understanding is that is the third Darling video. Now, I could be wrong because we are talking about, data mined stuff that's not official, but no one, and I've talked to literally every person who's played the game. I was on Discord for about a week straight because I'm not working right now. I was on voice calls to make it happen faster. Voice chat. I was hanging out and I was in the seediest little, nooks and crannies of the Remedy verse online, talking to everyone. No one found the third one.
He was on the Onion.
Yeah.
Dark web trying to find
I was using the Onion browser. I was doing all sorts of deeds trying to get the goods on this third video. I think the third video is the Lake House video, and I'm not going to say anything about it because it's it's sensitive. I know some people are waiting. But I mean, is that a spoiler to say there's a Dr. Darling video in the Lake House DLC? I don't think that's that crazy.
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's that crazy to say because the Lake No DLC we already know is going to be dealing heavily with the FPC. It's got to.
Yeah.
So
get over it. But no, but
we start getting more subscribers and we just immediately start negging them.
Just shut up. Just click the thumb and shut up.
Like the fucking channel. Subscribe to the video and shut the fuck up.
And shut up. I don't want to be reading your little comments. I want to be hearing what I look like, okay?
I don't need to hear I sound like Lester from Grand Theft Auto 5 again.
I got that. I look like the moon from the Mighty Boosh.
The problem is, they're both. I see both of them.
I see them both.
Neither of you were wrong who said those things.
When I take the hat off, I'm kind of in my Max Payne mode.
Yeah, right now with you're very Max Payne 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to a third world country and starting some shit.
You're thinking about committing a spree murder.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not gonna say I'm doing it, but I'm thinking about it. I think about a lot of things.
Plenty of things on my mind.
Of course, I have the best of intentions, but I might learn later that that maybe I shouldn't come in like Mr. John Rambo into a place I don't know anything about. As Max learned throughout Max Payne 3.
It was a dark fucking game.
I like how it's like, in that game, it's like, don't you get it? Like, you're fucking with a culture that you know nothing about. You can't just come in with your, like, American, like, kill 'em all attitude.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, no, well, I'm going to kill the president anyway. Just like,
oh, no, I guess I'll have to kill them all to fix this.
I think it's in the next literally the next scene you play is him slaughtering an entire police department. I really thought that the game was gonna like have Max like learn a lesson at that point.
It's still a Rockstar game at the end of the day. I love Rockstar games, but
okay, noted. But with a limp. So the two Dr. Darling videos that we can view legally right now are Dr. Darling is in the dark place, it seems.
Yes. Which would...
I think it's implied.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Well, there's also, I didn't mention, there's a Manuscript page about Dr. Marmot.
Yeah.
Sounding like they got sucked in or taken by the dark presence. Taken by the dark presence. I Look, I just misspoke. I am going to bleep it.
I want to say the thing you almost said, but I'm like, I can't. It's another thing for you to bleep.
If you listen, I tried to say the dark presence. I said a bad word instead, but it was completely by accident.
It's a very close word, so don't worry. Yes. It wasn't like a Freudian slip.
So I have a feeling that whatever went down at the lake house is what zapped away Darling. Mm-hmm. And that's where he's been.
Yeah, I think that's where he's been since.
That's my guess.
Mm-hmm. Which could also lead to the implication that like the hiss incantation or something, or that Polaris is like the antithesis of the dark presence. You know what I mean? Or that the hiss could somehow be related to that in some way. I don't know. I know that people have suggested implications between all of those things. You know what I mean? It may be the dark presence. It was just a slide on the projector. You know what I mean?
It could have been. It's also kind of strange because, like, as you know, there's this whole other part of the Remedy connected universe that we don't have a great grip on right now, but we have the astral plane, the dark place.
Yep.
There are various thresholds that let you go in between those places. There's a black rock quarry.
There's also various times and moments where they bleed over into our world. Whether it's the overlaps in this game or the astral bleeds in Control. You know what I mean?
But we also have...
You really do have to hold her for an hour a day, don't
you? A number of...
She is wily. I've never seen this side of her.
She had a little infection recently.
I heard that, yeah.
Like a little... like she was coughing and sneezing.
Yeah, she just had like a I
don't know what you call respiratory infection. Yes. And ever since she got better, she's been incredibly like, I gotta play. It's a little bit of the Minnow lore for you, but what I don't quite understand, what I'm hoping that we get like more of a glimpse into over time is like, what is the culture or hierarchy or society of like these? Like, we know they're alien presences, but we have the former, the board, the hiss, the dark presence, the bright presence, Hedron Polaris, possibly more,
possibly Northmore,
possibly Northmore. That's good. But also, it also seems as if like certain entities have
like Ati.
Ati as well, yes, for sure. And it seems like some entities have also bound themselves to certain items, objects.
Yep. Or certain entities have maybe bound, like the board seems to have bound themselves maybe to the astral plane.
Yeah.
You know,
or like they have certain realms that they kind of like their domain.
Yeah. Well, and then because then the implication that the former may have been a member of the board. You know what I mean? And now was an entity that was part of the board, and now is, that's implied in the name and also like in the lore and stuff.
So the idea
that there is, like you said, a hierarchy. There's power struggles potentially.
Right. So maybe, like what? Yeah. I want to know more about all that.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting to a point now where like what we're talking about for what could happen is like up to 5 years away. You know what I mean, or longer.
That's true.
But it is exciting I don't know if they ever will answer all of these questions, but I really hope they do answer all these questions.
I have a plan. And it's kind of an extreme plan, so I'm not gonna pull the trigger on it just yet. Yeah. But I have a way to maybe take the answers by force if I need to.
I just need a one-way ticket to Finland.
on behalf of all Remedy fans, I have a little bit of a plan here.
And if we can get all of your support.
I'm gonna need everyone to
everybody gives Matt $1.
And also enact the no snitching policy. So Darling is in the dark place and he's like, this place is crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's so crazy.
Like, oh my god. Oh my god.
He's doing that move. He bites his tongue.
He's making the Ahego face.
No. He's like trying to get some reading, some data. He's like, the thing about this is like when you hypothesize. I think I have the quote here.
Yeah, you do.
The way that this place works makes any hypothesis immediately come back to alter and contaminate the data. Mm-hmm. Okay, keep that in mind. 1. He pulls out a radio with a coat hanger on it. Mm-hmm. Starts getting a signal from Alan.
Yes.
I've seen it in the subtitle identifiers, which has been so crucial throughout this game to go, who was that said that?
Especially because
there's one where Alan calls himself and it's just a familiar voice.
Yeah. And you got it's just me?
He's like, he's being all kooky. He's like, oh, it's weird. Kind of sounds like me.
Moving it around. But yeah, that's the part I was going to say is that he's aware that it sounds.
You are such a ham.
Mm-hmm. He is very hammy.
But he says, any hypothesis alters the data immediately.
Yep. Immediately comes back to alter and contaminate the data.
In the second video, he basically says he has reached the limits of what science can do. Mm-hmm. Okay? He hypothesizes that he needs something else entirely, quote, some mad creative mindset to help me, not a scientist, an artist. And then Zayn appears immediately. Did he manifest Zayn?
Well, that's a great question. Where is it in the same, like, did he manifest Zayn in the same way that they like manifested Scratch or like brought Alan back, you know what I mean? Or the way that,
well, the thing is, if we look at Remedy lore, Thomas Zayn, if what we know is true, and we have to believe in something these days.
It's so hard.
Minnow is taking a huge bath right in front of us right now and constantly flopping back and forth.
Yeah, it's kind of distracting.
She's a very
the way
happy
cats
cat.
do when they hurl their whole body to roll over.
She's been playing so hard lately that I have to like stop because she's like panting. I'm like, you're pushing yourself too hard.
Una, my newer cat, Una has been I'll hear her, she jumps onto the cat tree, and I'll hear her whole body hit the wall every time she does it. And I'm like, you just keep doing that.
So, Thomas Zayn put himself and Barbara Jagger, who had been contaminated by the Dark Presence, down into the bottom of the lake. And then he unleashed a secret act of creativity that opened a little baby dimension inside of the dark place. A dimension inside of a dimension where his soul, essentially, and the soul of Barbara Jagger have lived happily ever after, we'll say. Okay? They gave their bodies up. The form of Thomas Zayn became the bright presence, the diver.
Yep.
And the form of Barbara Jagger was taken by the Dark Presence, and that's why the Dark Presence is wearing her body throughout Alan Wake 1.
Right.
The diver is nowhere to be seen in Alan Wake 2, except there's the scene where, during the party scene in 665, Thomas Zayn has a little diver toy in the bathtub.
Yeah.
There's also photos of a diver in the hotel.
Yes. Isn't there the implication made, though, that he only appeared as the diver because that's just like what fit the narrative? That's what fit the story. So the idea of the diver is more just like that was an avatar for the Bright Presence.
But
in the same way that Barbara Yeager was...
if the diver was just an avatar for the Bright Presence, does the diver have any connection to Tom Zayn as we see him in Alan Wake 2? Are they the same entity at all? I kind of get the impression that it's just that version of Zayn could have been manifested by Darling, and it's just kind of created from a fragment
the version
of,
we're seeing.
Yes.
Okay.
Tom Zayn in Alan Wake 2 was seemingly summoned, or even, if not summoned, completely manifested by
Darling in that
by
moment.
Darling, as in like it could have been some latent energy was like, oh, here, it's taking the form, because it has, you can't create something from nothing, but like Thomas Zane's body was already given to the dark place. Like he already gave it up. So it's like, it's not like creating a whole being out of nothing, because it already had the concept of Zayn. It had, you know, bits of his consciousness and his form. So I don't know. It just makes me wonder if like, is there any relation between the diver and Zayn as we see him in Alan Wake 2? And also, did Casper Darling kind of create
this
inadvertently
version, what we see as? Yeah. It's interesting because obviously he shares the same voice, more or less. You know what I mean? They all have similar voices. He looks the same as Alan. You know what I mean? And Alan was in the dark place at the same time.
Well, they don't share the same voice.
Similar voices. Are they not similar? They're not nearly as close as... No, they don't. You're right. Sorry. Because it's Ika Villa actually does the voice of... Yep. Okay. So they don't even have the same voice.
Ilka Villi.
Sorry. I get the names wrong sometimes.
It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
He'll never find out about it. I told him not to watch our videos.
He's not allowed to. He's one of the people you banned from the comments.
She usually likes being held for longer.
She stepped on my lap and then immediately backed up. So I was like... But... So maybe it's taking, like you said, from Zayn, but then also because it looks so much like Alan, maybe because Alan is the other creative that is in the dark place at this time. It's also pulling from that a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we see Zayn the way that we do.
Here's the other part of it that's kind of kooky. I've never really resolved, why does Tom Zayn look 1-to-1 identical with Alan in AWE? They're wearing the same clothes. They're exactly the same. The voices are different.
Yes.
The voices are different.
Yes.
But why does he have that appearance?
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder if that entity that was Alan's double, Tom Zayn, in AWE, when Darling was like, I need something creative, it was like that same entity was like, I'll transform into this now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that they could. We also don't know the timeline of when we're seeing this Casper video from. So Casper could have created that version of Zayn that we see in the AWE.
And Casper appears in that AWE video with the Tom Zayn double.
Yeah.
Briefly on the TV. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just putting some stuff out there to chew on.
That's a great theory, honestly.
It's just the fact that all we get is any hypothesis immediately comes back to alter and contaminate data.
Well, yeah.
Then he hypothesizes something and it immediately happens.
Which is because the idea is that his hypotheses are like the writings. You know what I mean?
Right. And I know like the dark, like you can't use like the powers of the lake and the powers of the dark place to like create a new person in reality.
But in the dark,
but can you do so in the dark place? Because I mean, how, you know, we have multiple entities in the dark place that aren't, you know, totally real.
Yeah.
Even in the dark place, like there's like the in the first game, there's the fake version of Alice, who's like, you know, that's just like an entity that is just wearing or even the like, form of Alice, but she's not really Alice.
Or even at like the end of American Nightmare, when like you like embrace Alice looking over the lake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And clearly that's not. Maybe that's real in the future. Maybe that's in the hella future. You know
well, that's I mean, my understanding is that's a memory from the past that he's reliving.
Yes, that was my thought too.
But how is it actually happening there? Like what's what's the sensation for Alan? Is it So hard to say. And also, I mean, Alan, what a lucky guy. 4 beautiful women in one game.
Jesus Christ. Not all of them are. I don't know.
No, he likes all the flavors. So
He doesn't discriminate at all.
Yeah, Darling. The fact that Darling knows, like, there's two things that happen. One, he's like, that kind of sounds like my voice. Then later, like, Darling's like, oh, huh, like, see, like, doesn't he like? I don't know if they have like a little recognition.
Him and Zayn.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
I think they have like a. I think Zayn says he likes his jacket and he looks fit or something like that.
He knew he was buff. Yeah,
He could tell he was buff, which I thought was very funny.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was also funny that just like it's like that is also very Bruce.
Very.
Just like it's like, are you like flirting with me right now?
Yeah, you like can't tell me. You're like, I feel nice about it though. Thank you. Because even Darling gets like that kind of like giggly. He's like, hey, thank you. You gets all like giddy for a moment.
A couple other new things. Unless there's more to say about this. Do you have anything great?
No, not really, because I don't know.
Any bright ideas here, Einstein, the genius?
No. No.
I don't even. Yeah, just go.
Your theory that he created Zayn is, my mind's still turning on that one right now.
Created, manifested, summoned.
Yeah,
it's hard to say. I don't know.
This version of him.
But it just seems too weird to go, oh, if I make a hypothesis, it comes true. I made a hypothesis about needing an artist, and then it happened. It's like, I feel like they spell it out any. Because then it's like, or is it just misdirection?
It could be misdirection because there's also Ati calling you Tom all the time, but then he could still be referring to literal Thomas Zayn.
Right. That's the other thing. Is like, we don't know if there's never been a clear understanding of why there is Tom the poet and Tom the filmmaker, Tom the director,
Tom the auteur.
Like, why are there different versions of him? Because even Jesse Faden in Control is like, oh, like, and he was with, like, that was Alan Wake. He was with Tom the poet. Oh wait, no, like, he was a filmmaker. I always get those mixed up or something.
There's
there's that too.
The therapy recording where she's like, you said your favorite poem was by Thomas Zayn, but we've looked.
Well, that's two instances.
Yes, they're two separate instances. Yes.
In that one that you're referring to, she believes he's a poet.
Yes.
And then she's told by her doctor
that she's mistaken.
That there's only this filmmaker. Can't find evidence of the poet.
Yep.
Later, she goes, oh, he's a poet. She goes, oh, no, I'm wrong. It was
a filmmaker. Yep.
And it's like, what changed for Jesse to go, oh, yeah, no, I was wrong about that? Because before, she was like, oh, I remember this poem. He's like my favorite poet.
Yeah.
Like,
I know
it's just hard to say. It's hard to know. I kind of feel like maybe
those are from when she was younger, so maybe she just got broken down. You know what I mean?
Right, but
or is she being affected by the influence of the story?
It's just unclear if Tom was ever a poet or if Tom was always a filmmaker. But I feel like the implication of one of those roles being fake, or even both roles being fake, are possibly due to him like creating like reality altering art in the Dark Place and just giving himself a new backstory somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's hard to pick up on. I don't know the significance of that at all yet, really.
You find some new photos from Alice, which in my experience didn't do anything. They just kind of like,
yeah, it didn't like trigger any new interaction or anything. You can just see them.
And they're called like Gifts of the Goddess, which is like a reference to the hero's journey.
Oh, okay.
And it plays into the themes.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
I think it said it somewhere in the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find the Spark of Light photo. You find another photo. That was cool, but it didn't. I didn't find any way to apply them. Yeah, I didn't really know what it was even saying.
Yeah, there wasn't enough context surrounding it, and they didn't, like you said, they didn't stand out at all. They weren't interactable. There wasn't like any new dialogue or narration that went with it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, well, Alan just kind of said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I felt Alice's presence when I picked up the photo, and it was like good, and I felt right about it."
Yeah,
it's like okay,
all right.
Another thing that I can't verify this, but I read that the timing of the jump scares was slightly altered.
Oh yeah,
to like get you.
Okay, that might check out.
When you were like you thought you were ready for one.
You know, I thought I thought the Cynthia Weaver one took longer to happen this time.
I thought it did too because I was able to walk up and see her face.
Yeah, exactly. I looked right at her. I was prepping for it. You know what I mean? I was like prepping for it, and then I was like, oh, I'll look right at her face this time. And I walked up, and I was just like standing next to her, like, you know what I mean? And then suddenly it hit me when she disappeared.
Her model in game looked a lot more like what I remembered Weaver to look like. I saw it a little bit more.
Yes, when it's not the actress that they have for the quick like live action. Her face, you know,
I thought that was interesting because, like, I mean, I didn't think you'd ever get to see that model unless you got some sort of photo mode.
Yeah, unless you like entered photo mode early and then got around to
with
her.
some no clip turned on because she's up against a wall. It'll be hard to get a good angle on that.
You have to go outside of the building and come up and
confirm that for me if you can. If other jump scares were altered,
that one I felt it was, but I didn't think anything of it past that.
I felt it was.
Yeah,
was I right?
I know. Yeah,
or was I just like?
Was it just because I was anticipating it? It seemed like it took longer.
I just
this
don't
time?
know.
I don't know.
Tor and Odin appear in the dark place.
Yeah, I'm so sad
Saga's
you couldn't
there.
get this to trigger.
I saw it in a video. You basically, you know, they're like, "Hey, we missed you last time." Saga's like, "The fuck are you talking about?"
What do you mean last time?
They're like, "Honey, don't worry about it."
Yeah.
You're like, we're friends with Mr. Door now.
Yeah.
We buried the hatchet.
We've been playing in his band.
Well, one of the brothers is like, I still don't like that guy. But
that's just because that's his deep-seated racism.
Sucks. There's just sick, sad world.
That generation.
Yeah. No. It's not that.
No,
okay?
it's not that. No. Bad joke. Bad joke.
He's crotchety.
Yeah, he's just a crotchety guy who.
He's just a bit of a dick. But
if it is Saga's father, then he's the one who drove him away in the first place, and they've always had beef. So it's clearly he's.
But it was a little weird to me that they didn't go, "We patched things up with your dad," you know, or something. I was kind of expecting the reveal to be there.
I know,
but they go, "Yeah, we've been playing on as the band on the show," and it's like. When they say we gotta get to our next gig, that was the gig.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, Alan mentions that they were there in the dark place. In the original story, in the original game, not the new game plus, when he comes out and he's talking to Estevez, there's a moment where he's like, oh, yeah, I remember those two guys. They were in the dark place, too, with me. They played in my musical. And she goes, okay, I don't know how confident I am anymore in giving you this responsibility. Yeah. So to imply that, like,
she's like, I don't really like musicals. I don't know if I can trust you.
Estevez says, kind of gay. She can say it. She's gay. You can believe that. I don't know.
She goes, I like Hamilton.
Yeah.
That's the only one I like.
That's really the only one I like.
Lin-Manuel Miranda is actually a genius.
He's definitely not super fucking obnoxious.
He's definitely not mad cringe bro. Yeah, so that I mean, people said, "Oh, you gotta wait a little while." I waited like a full fucking minute. Like I know a lot of dialogues you gotta wait, and that,
you do have to
because they go, "Oh, Saga, nice to see you, honey," and then they just stand there. I go, "Well, if I wait 30 seconds, they're gonna speak again because that's what NPCs do in Remedy games." And they wouldn't. And I could. So other people though, they got a little dialogue button.
I got it as well,
to go through a couple things and you know, informative for us. Saga seems to just be like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" Just like, okay, well, I need to go walk into a fountain now.
Yeah, and they're like, "Do it up," and you're like, "You coming with me?" And they're like, "Nah, we're hanging out here now." They're just kind of like, yeah, we're done out there for now.
Yeah, no, we're going to stay in the New York hellscape.
Yeah. We're going to hang out with fucking Tim Breaker.
Yeah. No, we're hanging out with all the shadow people.
Yeah. No. We're going to stay with the people that live in the shadows who try to murder us all day. We're going to change in this constantly shifting, ever worsening hell.
Yeah, I mean, we're old. You know, it takes a certain thrill.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is kind of what walking to the grocery store is like for me now anyways. With this dementia. How'd I get here? Where am I? Who are you?
And then lastly, you get the new ending where Alan, after being shot in the nugget with the bullet of light,
after getting domed.
Boom, headshot. He's like,
well, first
whoa, I
Saga
actually feel pretty
scrambles
good.
for the phone, and finally,
yes, phone rings.
Sweet baby Logan picks up. She says, "Mom, I've had a fucking worst nightmare, dude." Yeah, and I love that you just go, oh, "Okay, cool, you're fine." Hang up. She's like, "Mom, I'm so fucking scared."
She
You're
says,
like, "Cool,
I'm coming home.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, what? First to go, you're on your way home right now. You're on your way home.
Yeah.
There's no loose end.
Bro, I swear to God, I'm heading out the door right now. I'm like 5 minutes away.
I'm putting my shoes on. Okay, actually, it's slowing me down to be on the phone right now.
Yeah, frankly, I'd be there right now if you hadn't called.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm walking up to your door, man. Look outside your window.
Because you called me, I'm actually going to be taking longer than I would have if you hadn't called, just so you know.
This phone call is going to put me back 20 minutes easy.
I was going to be on time. Now I'm not. And that's not on me. And I'm not blaming you. It's just how things are. Okay. No, it's cool. Yes. All right. I love you too. No, but it's like, really? You're on your way home? Like, don't you gotta do some, like...
you definitely have to wrap this case up.
It's like, just like, walk out of the nursing home like, all right, well, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I don't think you just... I don't think you're literally going, okay, guys, peace out. Cool.
I'm driving back.
Yeah, you gotta go talk to Estivus.
Also, do they drive from Virginia to Washington? Maybe.
That's what it implied. That's how it seemed. But I don't really know. You know? You think they'd fly and then drive, but...
Something I got, well, no, I'll say this afterwards. So,
Oh, but Alan stands up and he's like, I'm God. Look at me.
Master of many worlds. It seems like
Where's your crown, King?
Now, this was funny because this was something I theorized in a prediction early on was if Alan returns at the end of the game, he will have somehow absorbed the powers that he had while in the dark place. He will somehow, similar to Jesse Polaris, becoming one being.
Yep.
Alan will somehow become the actual champion of light, not just in the context of the story like he was, but he will be in reality as well.
Counterpoint. What if Jesse's the champion of light and Alan is the herald of darkness?
That's also very possible.
Because there's his statement at the end of the game felt oddly what's the word? Foreboding to me, kind of. You know what I mean? If that's
it was a little off.
It's a little bit where he's like, now that I have all this power.
I think he says like, Master of two worlds. No, Master of many worlds.
Yeah.
He goes, I have a little bit of power. No, I'm gonna have all the power.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of. It had a little bit of. Is a
Control
little bit of
2, Alan Wake is the main villain, confirmed.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks. That was data mined from the it's sat with me so long how he says it at the end.
Man, I would love that. It wouldn't be the first time.
Well, because there's this constant implication that there has to be this great loss. There has to be this great loss. The hero has to suffer a great loss.
He lost Alice.
Maybe. We don't know that he lost Alice. There's not the implication Alice is dead or alive right now. She kind of exists in a purgatory state, as far as we know at this point. Whereas Jesse might lose Dylan still. He's in a coma, for all we know. Jesse still could suffer a great loss. She's lost her life as she knows it, and she may lose her brother, which she spent her entire life trying to find.
We're going to find out eventually.
You know what I mean? Because for him to suddenly go, because they say so much leading up to it, Saga and Alan, the hero has to suffer a great loss. And then the game ends, and doesn't really seem like either of them suffered any great loss. You know what I mean? Logan's alive, which would imply that she's still married to David, you know what I mean? And her life's fine. And it's implied that Alice isn't dead, and she just went into the dark place, and so that there's just as much chance for her to be brought back as Alan.
It's possible. The other thing I theorized was that Alan would have to go back in for some reason.
Yeah.
If he did get out, he'd have to go back in the third one, but he'd be buffed out with all his new powers.
Just when I think I'm out, come pulling me back in.
But
I thought this was his last heist. But
if Alan was a villain, it would be kind of like in Max Payne 2, how your friend Vlad becomes the final boss by the end of the game.
Because they kind of moved away from Alan being the main character of this game and being the hero of this game. Saga's the hero of this game.
Right, because, in his mind, there was only monsters and victims. So he had to become the monster, it seemed.
I don't know.
Couldn't be a victim.
Couldn't be a victim. Wouldn't let himself. I'm not going to let myself be a victim.
That's basically why I have this tattoo.
Which one's that?
The I will not let myself be a victim tattoo, the chest piece I have. I don't like showing it.
You're very personal about it.
Alan sees a vision of Alice and he says, "Thank you, my love," which is, you didn't watch all of Nightless Night.
I ended up doing it this time around.
Oh, well, that's what they also say in that movie.
Yes.
Which some people have been like, "Ooh, that's unsettling," but I think it's possible entirely that Tom Zayn really, because it was kind of like, oh, is this a dubious claim? Was he really trying to help Alan out? It really does seem like Zayn was giving Alan all of the goods he'd need, for the inspiration for the story.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's hard to tell what his motivation is, especially now considering the fact that may not even be the real Zayn that we interact with in Alan Wake 2.
It's hard to say, but
so it could be that maybe these things that you've been receiving, the helpful stuff, are coming from the real Zayn.
Yeah.
Because the Zayn you meet in this game also implies that he also wants to get out. He's like, we have to get out.
Right, where it seems like the actual Zayn he doesn't have a desire to get out because he put himself in.
Yeah, the real Zayn put himself in that reality.
He put himself in a new place.
In the dimension within the dimension.
He escaped to a better place.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it really does seem like Zayn's film was giving Alan the inspiration he'd need to later do the thing.
Because it even the whole implication of even though I get it's Casey being killed by the cult members, you know what I mean? It's that could also be Casey being overtaken by the dark presence. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So I don't know. So throw up everywhere. I know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, it's cool. I mean, I'm very drunk right now. The room is spinning.
I'm barely sitting in this chair.
Yeah. I'm barely not shitting in this chair.
I pissed myself.
I did
at the start of the video.
Yes, is now cold. Yeah, so I got a thing this time around where I lost it.
Yeah.
Something about the ending.
Alice. Oh, did you go to the lake houses at any of your
I went to the lake house.
Yeah, I ended up doing that in my second playthrough, not the New Game Plus.
Yeah.
But I did it in my second play. You don't get anything new there, no. It's just some cabins you explore. I was hoping it'd be more too. I mean, I don't know. It creates so many more questions. And it's still a great game. I like that you get the New Game Plus. I think they did a good job as far as giving you all of your things, but still making it. I didn't feel too overpowered because you're not suddenly given all this new inventory space. You know what I mean? And suddenly you can carry everything. And I don't know.
No, the New Game Plus was handled pretty well. A lot of people I've talked to online think it's bullshit to you gotta play the game twice to get the real ending. It's you look it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's that's when people used to get mad people wouldn't get mad. But that's if you got mad about the fact that it's you have to finish Halo on Legendary to get the real ending. You know what I mean? I
don't think it's that crazy to lock special story content behind a skill wall.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so either.
It doesn't seem that crazy to me.
No.
Because it's I don't know, you still got an ending.
Yeah, you still got an ending, and it's a perfectly fine ending that will work.
Yeah.
Either way.
I did a little video essay about this a long time ago that is on our channel about does it make sense or not to because the ending of a game used to be a rare reward for only the best players.
Yeah, because games were initially made for you to play them in perpetuity, basically, so that without beating it.
Like games didn't have endings. Arcade games didn't have endings. There were like kill screens where the data just corrupted at a certain point.
Yeah, you reached a certain point where you'd gone far enough. Yeah.
Even home games, like Atari games, didn't have endings for the most part.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't until I think like NES, like the games started to have a linear beginning, middle, and ending.
Yeah, and I'm like sure some like early Famicom like point and click story games and stuff like that had an ending. You know,
like Mario Brothers has an ending. You get the princess.
Yeah.
And there's like a bunch of games, and it's like usually the ending is just like a thank you for playing. Here's a little nice little special animation or graphic. But like that was something that really was not for everyone.
Yeah,
you had to earn that, and you were probably in a very small percentile of people who did.
Yeah,
in terms of number of people who played the game at all. You know,
let alone completed it all the way.
So I mean, it's definitely more old school mentality to be like, well, you gotta do it again.
And you really used to have to put a lot of old games too. Like you'd have to like. You don't know the story of the game at all.
Yeah.
Just by playing it. You have to read the booklet that comes with it, you know what I mean? You have to put your own work into putting the story there. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Nowadays, I think, if you're making these games that are narrative based and like reaching the ending is like a crucial part of understanding the story, I think you should give players all the tools they need to experience it. But in a survival horror game, staying true to the tropes, saying you gotta play it twice is kind of commonplace in that genre.
Yeah, it's not as though because you could play through it the second time on story mode. You can do New Game Plus on story and breeze through it.
Yeah,
I think my first playthrough took me like 22 hours. Second playthrough took me 18. This one took me just under 16, I think. So you do steadily, because you also I don't need to get all the fucking I don't need to get all the collectibles.
You don't
get
all the stuff. No.
I have them. You know what I mean?
But it's like Silent Hill, multiple endings. You can't get the good ending the first time around. I don't think.
No, I don't think so. No. And there's
if
so
there
many...
even is like a good ending. I think there's like there's different endings.
Yeah, there's different.
They're all kind of depressing.
Yeah, none of them. I wouldn't call any of them happy endings.
But I just mean to say, it's not uncommon for the genre, and it's not uncommon in games.
And with Silent Hill, it's like you could play that game like 3 times and have no fucking clue there's any other endings.
True.
Or you could play it 3 times and get 3 different endings. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. Get over it that you got to play through it twice. I get it, but it's also
or just look it up.
Yeah, or just
we're in that age now.
You just look it up, and that's what I did. We were in that age with Halo. I remember Halo 3. I didn't want to wait till I beat it on Legendary because I heard that you got to see Master Chief's face.
And what did he look like?
You don't see his face. It was a lie. But I got this. But you could find the ending then.
I imagine he looks like the most nondescript white guy you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'd say he looks like a Dermot Mulroney, Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, ultimately, I look forward to the Night Springs and Lake House DLCs. I will continue to analyze this game and think about it more. But New Game Plus didn't give me all that much more information. I was really hoping for a little bit more, but I still really liked it.
I still had fun.
I still liked it a lot.
I wanted the New Game Plus from the beginning. I wanted New Game Plus without knowing there'd be new information. So I was happy with it overall.
Same. I love playing New Game Plus and going, I got my fully upgraded hunting rifle. Gadoosh.
I'm gonna blow your fucking head off without even taking away your darkness shield.
Biggest complaints I have about Alan Wake 2. You're doing all these survival horror tropes. Give us more alternate skins. Give us mercenaries mode. Give us stupid, overpowered, fun weapon you only use on New Game Plus.
Well, there's like this.
Give me a Chicago typewriter.
They do that in most of their other games too. Is the thing. You know what I mean? Not they don't do it in Control, but in they do to a degree in Control. I know it's not New Game Plus, you know what I mean? But like,
you get the alternate costumes.
Yeah, you get so many costumes.
There's like 6.
Yeah, there's like 6 different costumes. And then I don't know. In American Nightmare, you get the combat shotgun by the end. That thing's fucking broken. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Come on.
I mean, it'd be cool to like. I mean, having the fully upgraded weapons is sweet, but it'd be cool if it was just like rocket launcher.
Yeah. What if Jesse just like had an Uzi? Jesse with a fucking M60, you know what I mean? Like she's got to hold it like this, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I don't know either. But overall, I give it my Hidden Machine seal of approval.
Shattered the light that almost broke earlier. Yeah, I give it, I'd say it's great New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Wish they had more stuff though. Wish there was more new stuff.
It's just funny to be like, I'm satisfied, but I do wish there was more.
Yes. It's weird.
That's how I feel. I'm not like so let down. It's more just like
I'm happy with it as a New Game Plus.
Yeah.
base statement.
Yeah.
I'm let down as a Remedy New Game Plus.
Yeah, I would like a little bit more, although there are more updates coming.
Yeah, who knows?
Also, I gotta say, just one more little, bitch from me. Fix the bugs. Fix the bugs. I'm so upset about, I've never been in the lighthouse. I still haven't seen what's in the lighthouse.
Can't get in the lighthouse.
Can't get on New Game Plus, one of the cult stashes that you need if you get the crossbow on your first playthrough. And they addressed some of this stuff because they were also doing a thing where charms were duplicating and then you couldn't discard charms.
Couldn't discard the charms. So
they fixed that.
Okay, good, because that was a whole issue. I remember somebody warned me, thankfully, beforehand.
But man, I want... It's like... I was like, I'll do the completionist run on my New Game Plus.
Yeah.
I can't. And it's so frustrating to be like, to have done all the work for a reward in a game and not get it. It's such a small
What's
thing.
with that one word of power I still can't get to?
Yeah.
On the fucking rooftop bar. That's like off to the side. I still can't get to that one.
I got it so simply the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
From looking at it from the side?
You like go around another way. You're not near the rooftop bar at all. I figured it out. I was like, how did I not do this the first time?
God damn it.
I don't even know how. I just found it. As I was leaving the hotel bar at the end of the hotel scene.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go back around and find it. I found it. It was hard. I don't know how I couldn't find it the first time. And I had people telling me in the chat when I was doing it the first time, they're like, oh yeah, you can get it from this angle. You can get it. You can get it.
I was watching that half an hour.
I was like, people will really say anything, won't they?
They will say just about anything.
All right. Well, with that, thank you to everyone who supports the channel over on Patreon. If you got even $1 a month, that can help the channel go a long way. But of course, you can help us for free by subbing, liking, commenting, and telling us all the things we got wrong. Leave a 1 if you agree with this video and a 2 down below if you do not agree with the video.
And feel free to tell us what other horribly grotesque creatures we look like. Let us know in the comments what ugly guy you think I resemble.
That goes for me as well.
It upsets me for half a second and then I laugh about it.
Goodbye.
Thank you.